And we're still waiting on folks to connect, but we do have 12:59 here, so we are about ready to start. Let's see. About 30 seconds or so. If you want to, I'll wait Melissa and mute ourselves. You probably fit.
That's in the background.
There she is.
All right, Melissa, we're ready to go whenever you are.
After the video's on.
Sounds good. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Ohio Pork Council Virtual Field Trip Program. My name is Melissa Bell and I work with the Ohio Pork Council and have the great opportunity today to share with you a virtual field trip. Today we are going to be visiting our farmer Phil Horde, and but first let's go ahead and go through the roll, and we're going to see who all is on our call, and just make sure that we have everybody here. So, do we have Liberty Christian Academy?
Hi.
Hello. All right, and we have Conger Elementary from Delaware.
They are here.
Okay. All right. Very good. And then Mrs. Householder and Mrs. Hackney.
We're here.
Hello. And lastly, I think we have Dower Elementary.
Here. We're here. Here.
Hello. Welcome. All right. Well, with that, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to our farmer. Again, his name is Phil Horde. And Phil, if you want to start out and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good afternoon, guys. I wanted to invite you and welcome you to my farm. My role here at the farm is to help take care of our pigs and look after them every day. So today we're going to be visiting one of our growing farms, and this is where the pigs come and they spend their time growing. They have food and water, and the room is temperature controlled. So when it's really cold outside in the winter, we can keep it nice and warm inside for the pigs. And in the summertime, we're actually able to use some misters and some fans to keep them cool and help keep them nice and comfortable in different times of the year. So.
Phil, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what kind of building you're in? What size are those pigs? That kind of.
Sure. Absolutely. So the building that we're in today, I'm going to flip us around. You guys can see some of the pigs. These are, like I mentioned, this is one of our growing barns. And so this is where pigs come when they are about 9 weeks old. So they'll be about that old when they come here. And then they will stay here until they are about 6 months old and ready for market. So these pigs, right now, they're weighing about 100 pounds or so, or just slightly less, maybe around that 75 to 100 pounds. And as you can see in their pen, some of them are at their feeder. That's where they get their food. So the food actually comes down through these lines that bring the food to each feeder in the barn. And then it comes down and it drops it down into the feeder here. And you can see there it is. And we can adjust the feeder so how much food is coming out the bottom into the pan for the pigs to go up and eat. But they have full access to food all year round or all day. So either day or night, they get as much food as they want. And their food actually changes how old they are. So just as us as humans, if we're smaller, we eat, babies drink different, milk and different things when they're smaller. Same thing with the piglets. And as they get older, we're able to change the food based off of their size and weight. So in the pen, you can also see in the back there is where the pigs get their water. So there's this water that hangs from the ceiling, and they can walk up and get a drink whenever they want, and then take a rest whenever they want. So it's pretty much that's the extent of their pen here. Each of the pens in the barn looks very similar. So each pen is really no different from the other. But I'm here at the end just to give us a little bit more better connection for my phone.
Phil, can you tell us how many pigs do you have in that building?
Yeah, so right now there's just over 2,000 pigs in this building. So as you can see, it's quite a long building, but there's actually 2 rooms in this barn. So we actually have a room that goes in over on that side, and it just looks exactly the same as this room does over here.
Okay, great. And what's the temperature in there right now?
So the temperature outside today is in the 40s, but in here it's actually just around 70 degrees. So it's feeling really nice in here. The pigs are very comfortable. I'll actually walk over and you guys can see the feeder the heater where the heat comes out. And that big box, that metal box, is where the heat comes out. And there's controllers that actually regulate the temperature in the barn, and it tells the heater when to turn on, just like your house would. When it gets too cold, the heat turns on based off of what we set it at. That's what happens here for the pigs.
Phil, do you want to show us what do you wear to the barn?
Absolutely. So today I'm wearing some nice coveralls. I don't know if you guys can see these here, but they are basically big blue coveralls that maybe just are something easy to throw on in the mornings and are easy to wear. And I wear a t-shirt underneath it. But we also have some different hats that we can wear, and different things in the barn depending on what we're doing. So if you want to flip around here, I can show you my boots that I'm wearing as well. Just some rubber boots today. Easy to wash when I want to clean them.
Good. All right, so let's just talk a little bit more about what you do. Tell us about what's your favorite thing to do on the farm.
My favorite thing on the farm to do is to come in and check on the animals. And I actually work on our farm. I work mainly on looking at their foods that they're eating. And we actually spend a lot of time looking at the ingredients and different things that the pigs actually consume based off of their weight and what is needed at their time of growth. But my family has been farming for over 100 years. We've been raising pigs for quite a while now. And my father and my mother and my sister and my wife, we all work at the farm. But we also have some people that work with us, every day as well, helping care for the pigs. We also work with many families to help grow the pigs. So the barn that we're in today, we work with other families to help. They help us by growing the pigs as well. So we have a lot of good people that work with us every day too, Melissa.
Sounds good. Tell us what your least favorite thing to do is at the farm.
The least favorite thing for me is cleaning, but cleaning is really important. So after these pigs leave, we'll go ahead and flip my camera around again here. After these pigs leave, we actually clean down the pens and we get them completely washed down. They're completely clean. And I like to say they're as clean as I could lay my sandwich for lunch down on the floor and pick it back up and I could eat it again. And that's how clean that we get it. So that's just maybe one thing that's maybe not as fun, but it's really important so that we can help make sure the pigs have a nice clean home to come into when they are entering the barn as smaller pigs.
I have to tell you, Phil, and all the students, of all the farmers that we interview and at our own home farm, washing the least favorite job of every person I've ever talked to. So
Yeah.
I kind of already knew that. So tell me a little bit. So one of the questions I think that the students might want to know is, those pens look so clean. Where does all the poo go?
Oh, great question, Melissa. So if you look down, we have some friends here. They wanted to say hi. If you look on the floor, see these little slots in the floor? So their poo actually goes down in between those slats and it helps keep the pens nice and clean. So actually pigs are pretty clean animals in general. If we allow them the ability to, they actually go poo in the back of the pen, as you can see all the way back there. And they don't normally go poo up here. So they actually keep certain areas of their pen really clean, and they do their business in one area of the pen. So our pigs here at this farm, we keep the pens really clean. We do not actually go through, while we have pigs in here, we're not cleaning those pens. These pens naturally stay that clean when the manure falls or the poo falls into the floor, where it's then kept into a big tank underneath the barn. And then we actually can use their poo as fertilizer for the fields. So for the grains and grasses that we grow, we can use the poo to help fertilize it. And it's a natural organic fertilizer that we can use onto the fields.
Okay, so transitioning into the next topic, let's talk a little bit. You mentioned that these pigs weigh about 75 to 100 pounds. How much are they going to grow? How much will they weigh before they are harvested?
Yeah, so our pigs weigh about 290 pounds when they are harvested, when they go to the market. So they've got several weeks of growth left. So these pigs are gaining well over 2 pounds a day at this point. So they're really growing really fast. And that's just due to the fact that they're really good eaters. They like to eat. And also due to the environment, we can help take the stressor away of maybe it's not so cold outside. So therefore, they don't have to use any energy to help keep warm. But these pigs weren't always that big, right? So as you can see on the graph here, usually pigs are born between 2 and 3 pounds. And then when they are weaned, or that's a fancy word for when we take them from the mom and we put them into a growing barn, they weigh about 12 to 15 pounds. And then, like I mentioned, these pigs coming in here, they would come into our barn about 50 to 60 pounds. And I would say at this point, they're weighing about 100 pounds. Some of them maybe even more than that. So, and then they get to the size where we're ready to sell them. They go to market. But we have special farms that are designated for certain things. So this barn, we do not have any mother pigs in. So the mama pigs are called sows, S-O-W-S, sows. And at this farm, we do not have any of those here. So we have a special barn that houses the mother pigs. And then that's where they are bred and where they give birth to their piglets. And when the piglets are born, that's when they stay with their mom for several weeks. And then we would bring them to a barn, just kind of like this barn. So as you can see in the video, that's some piglets with their mama sow. And at some point, the pigs that you see in my barn, they would have been that small when they were young. So we have different barns based off of how old the pigs are and for different purposes. And it's mainly for a few reasons. We can provide specialized care to the mama pigs and their piglets in those barns. And then we can do the same thing in this barn. This barn is built just for growing pigs, right? So we have a feeder that's just for these size, and we have water and the flooring, everything is made just for this kind of pig. So different barns for different purposes at our farm.
So we do have some questions in the chat. Let's go ahead and answer some of those. The first one here is from Live, and they want to know, do the pigs have names, and how do you tell them apart?
So at my farm, I am not naming all of my pigs. Sometimes we get a favorite one and we might name it. I know one of my friends that she used to work with me here, she had one that she named Charlie Brown. So that was pretty funny. But I don't name my pigs here, no.
Okay. And they had another question. What kinds of pigs do you raise, and how many piglets does a sow have?
Great question. So one mama pig will have anywhere between 14 and 15 piglets. So she has quite a few little piglets when she's birthing. These are actually a crossbreed pig. So these are a combination of different breeds, and they were made for the best meat quality as far as having a great tasting product that we can buy at the store, as well as for their efficiency. So how can we use less resources to grow the pigs? So these ones are a combination of the Yorkshire, the Landrace, the Chester White. At another farm that I have, we actually had some of the Duroc, the red pig. So we have all different kinds of pigs. Yesterday I was meeting with some people, they have Berkshire pigs. So that was kind of cool, the ones there on the top middle. So there's lots of different kinds of pigs that we raise, but mainly these ones are going to be the Landrace, the large white, the Chester White, maybe some Hampshire.
Okay. Another question that we have in the chat room is, how does dirt and poop get through those slats?
So it just falls right into right into there. So I can stick my finger through there just like that. It actually just falls right down into the holding area below. There's the pigs will step on it maybe, and it can fall into there too. But it's not something that we have to push down through there. It happens on its own. So it's a process that the slats are small enough where they're not causing issues for the animals to walk on it, but they're big enough for the poo to fall through.
Do you clean the pigs?
We do not. We do not clean our pigs. Not at these kind of pigs. We're not cleaning them. They naturally stay, relatively clean. And like I was saying earlier, they generally will poo. Like right now, this pen is pooing in that far back corner back there, if you see. So generally, they're going to want to lay up here where they haven't done that, and so they keep themselves pretty clean.
How old are the pigs when they leave this building?
When they leave this building and they're ready for market, they're about 6 months old. So depending on how long it takes for them to grow, generally that's about 6 months.
Okay. And
so they're pretty young.
What kind of food do pigs eat?
Yes, so I began to show you guys earlier, but this food here that they have is a grain. So it's got some corn and some soybeans, It's has all of the vitamins and minerals inside the food that the pigs need. And we have a nutritionist that actually formulates their food, especially for our pigs. So I'm actually at the farm today, and that person, I was just talking with him, and he was here. We're always looking at the best ways that we can feed the pigs. And so he has his training specifically in how to formulate pig food. So yep, there's a picture of corn on the left and soybeans on the right. And once you ground those up, it looks just like that in the picture. And just like I showed you in the feeder, we ground it up, and that's what the pigs like to eat.
Perfect. All right, some more questions here. Why are their tails so short?
Yeah, so when the pigs are smaller, we do it's called tail docking. So we do dock their tails when they are relatively young, and that makes it so that those don't become chew toys later, right? We don't want the pigs to want to think that would be fun to chew on each other's tails. So that's one way that we can help reduce the use of antibiotics by producing a pig that would not maybe have to be treated for an infection that could occur from a bite to a tail. But that's something that we decided to do.
Okay. Let's see here. Do pigs ever get to go outside?
So at our farm, our pigs do not. We choose to not have them go outside. In our history, in our family, we used to have our pigs outside in a wooded lot. My great grandpa and my grandpa used to raise pigs that way. And then over time, we learned how the pigs, we can keep them healthier. We can lose less pigs to disease by bringing them inside, and we can control their environment a lot better than by keeping them outside. But I do have a lot of friends, or some friends that do have their pigs outside, and it's pretty much each farmer's preference. But for me, I like to be able to manage them by keeping them inside, keeping them warm in the winter and as cool as I can in the summer.
Great.
And providing a protection of an environment where they can be protected from predators and other things.
How many sows do you have? And how many pens or buildings do you have for the pigs?
Yep. So on our farm, we have 10 different birthing farms, actually 11. We just are working with another family to have some pigs at another one. So we have 11 birthing farms. And then we work with about 150 families to raise the pigs. So some of them would have barns that would look very much just like this one. And they help us raise those pigs every day. And we really like partnering with those families to do that.
Great. How many males and females do you have?
So in this barn, it's going to be pretty split. It's going to be about half males and half females. So sometimes the sow, when she gives birth to her piglets, sometimes she has more boys, sometimes she has more girls. And in pig terms, those are called barrows or boars, or gilts is what they're called. And so here in this barn, there would be a mixture of both boys and girls, and just about half and half.
All right. Where is the water that the pigs drink?
Yeah, so if you come over here, you can see this black pipe coming out from the ceiling here. That black pipe comes down, and then it goes into this silver little contraption, and on each side, that's where the pigs can put their mouth, and that's where the water comes out, and they can have access to water at any time.
Let's see here. Do you have any other animals on your farm?
No, we just raise pigs, but we also have some cows as well. A few. My grandpa has some cows, and my grandma has a few chickens at her house that he likes to to raise that we can use. They give us eggs. So, but beyond that, mainly we raise pigs. But we do have a few cows, and my grandma has a few chickens.
Okay. Another question, do they have enough space to play and exercise?
Yeah, so you can see in this pen, they have lots of space. They can move around as much as they want. And we definitely, as they get older, that's why we sell them and reduce the stocking density of the pen when they get bigger, so that they can make sure they have enough room to eat, sleep, and play, and drink water, and do whatever they want to do in the pen.
Do pigs drink a lot of water?
Yeah, so they do. At this point in their life, they're drinking well over, well over a half gallon to a gallon or more per day. So they are drinking a lot of water, and they do drink a lot of water, and it kind of depends on how much food they eat. Kind of like with us, if we're eating a lot of food, we usually like to have some drinks to go along with it. And so just like the pigs do, they get their water when they're done eating, or when they need a drink, they can get it whenever they want.
Okay. How long and how tall are these pigs? And then how long and how tall do they get? Can they grow to?
Okay, good question. So these ones now, like the one that's on my screen, he's probably about 2 feet high, and I would say probably about 2.5 feet long. And they will get to be roughly about maybe 5 feet long, and they can be anywhere from 3 to 4 feet tall, depending on how large they get. But they do get more round than they do tall or wide. So it's not or tall or long. It's more proportionate. They look very similar to this. When they get bigger, they just weigh more.
Okay. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? How many hours do pigs sleep? And then the second part, not related, but the second question is, do you grow anything on your farm?
How many hours do pigs sleep? We have looked at this before, and we kind of know that they generally follow our same sleep schedule. So they'll be up and around during the day. They'll be sleeping. So you see the ones in the pen right to the next pen, those ones are taking a nap. They'll nap throughout the day, but usually come when it comes dark outside, say 8, 9, 10 p.m. at night, they're all sleeping and it's pretty quiet. But sometimes they'll get up early too. They can get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But so they generally follow the same sleep schedule we do. But sometimes some pigs, if they get hungry, they can get a midnight snack, because the food is always there. If they get thirsty, they can get a drink in the middle of the night too.
Do you grow any food on your farm?
So we raise these pigs for food. We as far as growing other food, we do not grow any like vegetables or any other things like for to sell to others. We do grow the pigs' food, so we grow that corn and those soybeans for the pigs for them to eat. But we also purchase some of that from our farming neighbors too, to be able to feed them.
Okay. Let's see here. Are there males and females together, and at what age can they start having babies?
Yeah, so in this barn, actually, we do have the males and females in the same pen. These ones will not have babies. We are not raising them to have babies. Normally, when they become in that 225-ish day time frame, 250 days old, is when they can be bred to be able to have babies, and then they would be well over 6 months old by the time that they would have their babies. So we let them develop, and we know the size and the weight that they need to be before they would be able to have babies. But these ones will not be used to have any babies.
Do you know how many bones are in a pig's body?
I do not. No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe you
All
guys
right.
could tell me.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
216.
Oh, 216. Way to go. Thank you. So there's 216 bones.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Do they wiggle their tails, and how do pigs communicate?
Okay, so pigs can communicate via, you can kind of hear some of them doing a little squeal in the background. That's how they tell each other something. Hey, don't step on me, or hey, come over here, let's do something. But they have a lot of nonverbal communication too. So nonverbal communication would be by wiggling their tail or putting their ears up or just by listening. Pigs are really good listeners too. So they'll listen and watch what other pigs are doing. But they would probably, they have several different ways of communicating with each other.
How do you pick what breed of pig you're going to raise?
So there are farmers that they have started doing their own genetics and different things a long time ago, and they were starting to measure different things about the different kinds of breeds. And so over time, farmers are able to know what pigs would be best for them to raise in their farm. And so we look at that and we say, okay, these ones are probably the best for us to raise. But one of the things I can help with is that we actually can do some studies on this, and we can look at how the different kinds of pigs react to our farms, and we ultimately select the kind that we feel like are going to be the best pigs that we can sell into the marketplace.
Okay, sounds good. Last question that I'm going to ask from our list, I think this is it, is what does pig hair feel like?
Ooh, it kind of feels a little bit like a hairbrush that is no, that's not a good example. It's very unique. You can see that it's not very thick, right? It's very coarse, and it's on these breed of pigs, it's not very thick. You can see right down to their skin. So their hair doesn't get very long at our farms, but some breeds of pigs are very hairy, but these ones are just slightly hairy. You guys can see the hair a little bit better on these ones.
All right, and so we did get one last question. Are some pigs aggressive?
Some pigs can be. To humans, these ones, they're not aggressive. They might come up, and you can see how these ones I'm standing here, they want to come in and sniff me, and they want to maybe root on my leg or whatever, but they're not going to intentionally be mean to me. They're very friendly. So some pigs can be aggressive, but in general, most of my pigs are not that way, no.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Phil, for spending some time with us and sharing some more information about what it is like to live and work on a hog farm. We really appreciate it. I'm sure that the students have really enjoyed getting to see all of this. So thank you so much again for sharing with us. And classes, if you would all like to wave to the camera so that your board can see you, that would be awesome.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We're gonna have that camera.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, classes. We appreciate your participation. Have a great day.